What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Gabe here, and we are here once again to read some more of the first Yumeko novel. Before we go into this, just make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe so y'all can be alerted when these videos come up and everything. And also, be sure to get yourself a copy of this novel, Yumeko One, so you'll be able to read along in the future with these readings, as well as also our other available books. And also be sure to give us a little super thanks on any of these videos. And last but not least, support us on that Patreon, just like our boy AJ the Supreme. So, let's dive right in. A princess in a maroon dress arrived in the Barnhart Forest. She took a moment to take in the peacefulness and beauty of the area, making her really calm and happy. She started giggling and dancing to the music she imagined playing in her mind. She also imagined herself as Cinderella, dancing with her Prince Charming. Everything seemed all right until a little witch arrived and hid out of sight in a nearby shadowy area among some trees. "Time for my plan to begin," said the witch, as she started building up dark magic within her hands, aimed toward the princess, and began to chant. "Now it's time for this princess to nap. Then she'll awaken in my trap." Suddenly the princess fell asleep. The witch laughed evilly as she used dark magic to teleport the princess away from the forest. Back at the fire station, Mr. Fluffles, Brownie, Gerald, and Billy arrived at the fire command center. "Computer, bring up the caller on screen," commanded Billy. The computer revealed the caller on screen, which was Mayor Cedric Rosefield, a brown bear. "Mayor Rosefield, what's the trouble?" asked Mr. Fluffles. The mayor explained. "I just received a call from Barry at the Barnhart Convention Center. He said just as Anna started her photo shoot, a bunch of knit hats turned into monsters. Then they gathered together to become a giant monster, grabbed Anna and started a rampage through the down area." "I bet whoever those ice monsters are working for is probably behind this," said Brownie. "Don't worry, Mayor Rosefield. We'll save Anna and then figure out who's causing all of this." "Thank you, everyone," said the mayor as the call ended. "Sounds like a perfect chance to use those new fighter planes," said Billy. "Are you two up for the challenge?" "Of course I am!" exclaimed Brownie. "Count me in," said Gerald. Brownie and Gerald rushed to the hangar towards their fighter planes. Before they got inside, Billy informed them about the abilities of the planes. "Brownie, your fighter plane is a blue Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor called Paper Eater. It has missile launcher wings that look like the pectoral fins of a shark, and a dorsal fin with an electric blaster on the top behind the cockpit. It also has a huge mouth with shark teeth that can shoot fire. It also has an iron grappling hook in the back right above the thrusters." Then Billy explained Gerald's plane. "Gerald, your fighter plane is a yellow Eurofighter Typhoon called Space Bite. It has a large silver-gray spear in front of the cockpit that can open like a mouth with fangs similar to Paper Eater, but instead of shooting fire, it has a water cannon. Also, it has missile launchers on its back, an ice ray blaster, and thrusters." "Billy, you've really outdone yourself, buddy," said Brownie. "Just wait till you see my next invention," said Billy. "We'll definitely be looking forward to it after this rescue mission," said Gerald. Then Brownie and Gerald got in their planes and blasted off downtown. Meanwhile, Flora, Hiko, and Samuel arrived in the abandoned Cola Mart Supercenter. "Here we are, boys," said Flora. "Brownie should be right in there." "Are you sure?" asked Tico. "This place looks deserted." "It is, but there's been some suspicious activity going on in there," explained Flora. "So Brownie went in to investigate. If I were you guys, I'd wait until he finishes." "If we wait, we'll miss all the action," exclaimed Samuel. "I say we go in now." "Well, I suppose if he's in there, it would be all right," said Hiko. "Look, I know you're excited, but you really should wait," said Flora. "You don't know what you'll run into." "I'm sure we can handle it," said Samuel. "And it's possible that we might end up helping Brownie," said Hiko. "So let's go." Flora sighed and said, "All right, then go ahead, but be careful." "We will," said Hiko. "Indeed," said Samuel, kissing Flora's hand. "Mwah! We'll be in and out before you know it." He and Hiko raced into the Cola Mart to begin searching for Brownie. Starting around the front end registers, they didn't see anyone at first, but suddenly the store started to shake. "It's an earthquake!" exclaimed Hiko. "We better get under something quick!" exclaimed Samuel as well. Then the shaking stopped. The boys looked confused until they noticed the cash register sprang up and levitated in front of them. "I don't suppose the registers are going to give us a cash reward for something?" asked Hiko nervously. The cash registers fired coins at the boys. They dodged and realized the coins exploded when they hit the ground. "That's not our kind of reward!" shouted Samuel. "Run!" Hiko and Samuel ran, and the cash registers went after them. During the chase, the princess from the Barnhart Forest woke up in the receiving room of the store. She looked around, wondering how she got there, and saw a man with his back facing her. She walked up to the man to get his attention. The man turned around to face the princess, revealing to be a zombie with teeth in his eye sockets. The princess ran from the zombie screaming, but as she came out the double doors into the electronics section, she saw a whole army of zombies just like the first one, with teeth in their eye sockets too. As the zombies slowly approached the princess, she got so overstimulated that she became dizzy and blacked out, falling to the floor. Over in the downtown area, people fled in panic as the giant hat monster, which was 400 feet tall, was continuing its rampage, while holding Anna in his right hand, who was struggling to escape. Eventually, Brownie and Gerald arrived in their planes blasting it. The monster threw Anna up into the sky and fell on his back. Brownie flew Paper Eater towards Anna, opened the cockpit, and caught her. "Thank you ever so much," said Anna. "It's always a pleasure. And now let's get you back to safety," said Brownie. Then the hat monster got back up and went to attack. But Gerald had Spacebite freeze it with the hat monster got back up and went to attack, but Gerald had Spacebite freeze it with the Ice Ray Blaster. After that, Brownie had Paper Eater engulf it in fire, causing it to shrink until it disintegrated into ashes. "Looks like we defeated it easily," said Gerald. "Indeed," replied Brownie. "Perhaps a little too easy." Chapter 3. Hiko and Samuel were still running from the cash registers, and eventually the boys managed to lose the registers on the frozen food aisle with different kinds of ice cream. However, just as the boys sighed in relief, they were instantly surrounded by a bunch of skeletons that appeared. and were preparing to breathe fire out of their mouths at the boys. "Any ideas, buddy?" asked Samuel. "If only we could freeze the skeletons like ice cream," said Hiko. Suddenly, all the freezer doors opened. Then, ice cream was fired at the skeletons, freezing them in place. After that, they all broke apart and fell on the ground. "Did I do that?" asked Hiko. Then Hiko and Samuel heard some loud breathing noises. They looked at the end of the aisle and saw more skeletons. One of the skeletons noticed the boys, pointed at them, and said to the other skeletons, "Hey!" All the skeletons marched toward the boys, constantly pointing and saying, "Hey!" Whatever you did before, Hiko, I suggest you do it again," exclaimed Samuel. "Okay, I'll try this," said Hiko, holding out his hands facing the skeletons. "Frozen Fury!" All the freezers started rumbling until they exploded into an ice cream tidal wave, which drowned the skeletons. It also carried Hiko and Samuel all the way through the double doors and into the back of the store. As the boys got up, they smelled different seasonings down the hallway and heard a faint cry. "Smells like more trouble is cooking down there," said Samuel. "Which means someone is in more danger than we were." Samuel grabbed two nearby poles, handed one to Hiko, and they raced down the hallway. Once they got to the receiving room, they saw the zombies and the princess they captured tied to a long wooden log in the corner. She was crying out of fear as she watched the zombies preparing their giant cooking pot of boiling water with different seasonings. "So, what's the plan?" whispered Samuel. Hiko took a quick look around. Then he got an idea and whispered, "Can you at least knock one of them into the cooking pot?" Samuel grinned as he whispered, "That'll be too easy. Just be sure to get a distance away from them immediately after you strike." "Gotcha." On that note, Samuel rushed in toward the zombies and was able to hit two of them into the pot, causing it to roll over. Then, as the zombies slowly reacted, Samuel quickly ran back. After that, Hiko held his hand toward the fire and shouted, "Engulfing Inferno!" The fire rose up, surrounding the remaining zombies and burnt them to ashes. Hiko ran over toward the princess, quickly untied her, and the two of them fled along with Samuel all the way back to the electronics department. After the three rested a moment, the princess looked at Hiko, kissed his cheek, and smiled. Samuel looked surprised and said, "I'll take that as a big thank you." Hiko blushed and said to the princess, Well, you're very welcome." The boys introduced themselves, and in response the princess said, "My name is Naomi Ricky." "Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, Naomi," said Samuel. Then he playfully elbowed Hiko and whispered to him, "Hey, lucky for you, buddy." Hiko laughed nervously, but Flora arrived in a panic, shouting, "Oh, thank goodness you guys are okay." "What's wrong, Flora?" asked Samuel. "I thought Brownie was in here investigating, but he isn't," said Flora. "Then where is he?" asked Hiko. Flora started to explain, but suddenly the store began to warp, separating her from the others. And that's it for today, everybody. There'll be more in the next video. Definitely stay tuned for that. And again, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Get some of our available books, including Yumeko Novel One, so you can follow along with these audio readings. And also, special thanks for a little extra support. And most importantly, support us on that Patreon, just like your boy EJ the Supreme. So, do all that, and we will either see or hear from you in the next video. Take care, everybody.